You know, in our crazy, burnt-out world, we're always told the solution is to just try harder. But what if that's all wrong? What if the real answer is to actually try less? Today, we're diving into an ancient principle that teaches exactly that. This is the art of effortless action. Seriously, just for a second, ask yourself that question. Have you ever really stopped to notice how deeply bone-tired you are? It's this quiet hum of exhaustion that runs underneath everything, isn't it? And so many of us feel it. I mean, you're tired of trying, tired of pushing against the clock, pushing against what everyone expects from you, maybe even pushing against the people in your own life. It's just constant effort. And you're tired of forcing things, right? Forcing a decision you're not really ready for, forcing yourself to stick with a routine that just feels wrong now, or pouring all your energy into a relationship that's lost its natural spark. It's exhausting. But I think the deepest, most profound exhaustion, that comes from fighting yourself. It's that relentless internal battle where you're trying to control every single outcome, every feeling, every little moment of your life. And man, that is a war you just can't win. This whole struggle, this relentless need to manage every little thing, it actually has a name. We can call it the exhaustion of control. And that feeling, that deep fatigue, that's where our story really kicks off. It's like we're living in this invisible prison of hustle culture. There's this constant, nagging pressure to be more productive, to be stronger, to be more positive all the time. So we end up forcing ourselves into choices that are really just driven by a fear of falling behind or looking weak. And then, when things inevitably don't go according to our master plan, who do we blame? Ourselves, for things that were never, ever in our control. And here's the crazy part. The harder we grip, the more life just seems to slip right through our fingers. But what if? What if all this striving, this constant pushing, is the problem itself? What if there's another way to live? An ancient, much wiser way that offers a completely different path. It's a concept called Wu Wei. It comes from ancient Taoism, and it translates so beautifully to acting without forcing, or maybe even better, effortless action. It's the art of moving with the current of life, not fighting against it. Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand what Wu Wei is not. This isn't about being passive or lazy. It is not a sign of weakness. Actually, it's the complete opposite. It's a profound expression of wisdom. It's a deep inner strength. It's about taking action that's intelligent, that's attuned to the moment. To really get a feel for it, think about a great dancer. They don't fight the music, right? They feel it and they let it move them. Or think about a surfer. A surfer doesn't try to battle the entire ocean. No, they feel the power of the wave and they ride it. That, right there, is Wu Wei in action. So the philosophies where this idea comes from, Taoism and Zen, they hit us with a pretty uncomfortable truth. And it's this: you are not in control, and you never were. See, these traditions aren't offering us some kind of escape. They're offering us a return to trusting the natural flow of things. It's something we all knew how to do as kids, but somewhere along the way, we were taught to forget it. So how in the world did these ancient Eastern ideas make their way into our modern Western way of thinking? Well, the answer in large part comes down to one key figure who basically acted as a bridge for all of us: Alan Watts. This quote, wow, it just nails the essence of his entire message. Watts wasn't just some dusty academic. He was a translator, a bridge. He saw that the modern world was absolutely desperate for a new way of living, even if it couldn't quite put its finger on what that was. You could say he was an alchemist of ideas. He looked at all the spiritual suffering in the West, the anxiety, the loneliness, this obsession with results, and he translated these incredibly deep concepts, not just in English, but into the language of the modern soul. He showed us that the biggest barrier to this wisdom wasn't geography. It was our own deep, terrified fear of losing control. And to make this idea something we could really grab onto, Watts used this powerful metaphor that just perfectly explains our struggle. He asked us to imagine that we were swimming against a river. Okay, let's really picture this together. Imagine a person in a powerful river. But instead of just floating, they are desperately, frantically fighting the current. Every single stroke is a battle. Their muscles are burning, their mind is panicking, and the harder they fight, the more exhausted they get. And right here, this is the insight that changes everything. Watts taught us that the river, which is just life itself, it isn't the enemy.
Our suffering doesn't come from the current, it comes from our resistance to it. The struggle, that's the source of the pain, not the flow itself.
Watts saw so clearly that our culture has turned life into this frantic, neurotic race towards some vague idea of better that we never, ever actually get to. We worship productivity, we idolize control, and we treat our own lives like a project that needs to be constantly optimized. And in doing all that, we lose our connection to the very thing we're supposed to be living. We end up with this strange, hollow feeling inside, even when on the outside we're succeeding. Okay, so what does this all mean for us right now? How do we actually apply this? How do we stop swimming against the current and, start to flow? Well, the answer lies in a few practical things we can start doing today. It's time to learn how to flow. Practicing Wu Wei in today's world is really an act of conscious rebellion. It all starts with something so simple, just slowing down, creating the little pause to observe a situation before you react to it. From there, it's about choosing depth over haste, preferring the quality of one meaningful action over a dozen rushed ones. It also means trusting in life's natural cycles, knowing that, just like the seasons, there are times to act and there are times to wait. And finally, and maybe this is the most important part, it's about listening to that inner whisper, silencing all the noise from the outside world long enough to hear that quiet inner voice that, deep down, always knows the way. And this, right here, is the heart of it all. Real, true change doesn't happen because you fight and force yourself to be different. It happens when you surrender, when you stop resisting and create the space for your true self and for life itself to just emerge. It's in the act of letting go that you find your real strength, your real freedom. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Will you keep trying to swim against the river, exhausting yourself day after day? Or will you finally have the courage to let go, trust the current, and join the dance? The choice, as always, is yours.